Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. I'm your host, Mr. BJ Matthews, aka B. Just before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe, all of our YouTube videos. Hit that like button, y'all coming here. Hit the share, subscribe, hit that Cash App, $ Slick Rick 1991 send Venmo at BJ/MATHEWS/1. You can reach us on all those two platforms. Let's get it popping. All right, so back at it with video 2 for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Gonna go get something to eat, man. I wanted to do a quick video for y'all, man. Car rides with B Jizzle. This is going to pertain not to a game, but a situation, right? So, I just recently heard the interview with Joel Embiid for Practice Availability Media Day interview. He just had an interview earlier this morning. And I read something on social media saying, caption, "I've done too much for this effing city to be treated like this." I'm like, what? What's this? So it comes out Joel Embiid has heard the noise from many of people, not just outsiders, but Sixer fans as well. This is going to be a video to my man Straight to the Point and my man DFJ Hoops. I'll be putting into the title as well. You can follow those two brothers, content creators as well. But nonetheless, Joel Embiid has been hearing a lot of the murmur and the chatter from the people murmuring that he don't want to play. I told y'all, a lot of these NBA players, they hear everything, man. Even the ones that swear they don't hear nothing or they don't say nothing about it, they have somebody who's checking in and actually seeing what's on the outside. It's only human nature. You're gonna come across it. You have social media, you have, you wake up, you hear people on the street, you hear the tabloids, you read the newspaper, you go to the store, all these things. You're going to come off of something about, hearing about something about yourself, especially if it's been something looming around for the last few years. Joel Embiid don't want to play has been the rumor echoing. Well, big fella wasn't having it, and he let it all out. And he said, again, I quote, "I've done too much for this effing city," I got to bleep out the F word, "to be treated like this." Now, I'm gonna give y'all my thoughts and my opinion, just what I feel, because again, I try to, be as critical and be as honest as possible, get all the numbers, all the facts. That's why they call me the narrative killer. I destroy the narratives and think about just the logic part of it, while giving you guys entertainment. Now, this is what I will say about Joel Embiid. The player Joel Embiid, when healthy, I had as the best center in the league. Yes, I see Nikola Jokic has been in the league right beside him. But I've seen Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic mano a mano, and Embiid constantly, time after time, has gotten the best of Nikola Jokic. Now, to Nikola Jokic's defense, and this goes back to, the whole question, does he want to play? Embiid tends to play only when he's at home. I don't think he's played in Denver since 2019. He has not traveled to Denver. They play twice a year, Denver and Philadelphia, on two sides of the coast. So they get two opportunities to play. Jokic always, one thing I got to give Jokic, he's always durable and he's ready to play. If he doesn't play, it's just based off of the Nuggets already making the playoffs, or he's seriously hurt. So when he doesn't play, it's for a real reason. But more times than not, you can guarantee 75+ games from Jokic. And B, that's obviously not the case. But when I see them match up, I can only go by how they match up on the court. Embiid has pretty much gotten the best of Jokic. And I'm not talking about by a little bit. I'm talking about he's pretty much had the upper hand, destroyed Jokic. He has nothing, Jokic had nothing for him. So that's why I would say when healthy and when he's playing, he's at his apex. Embiid's the best center and he's the best big. He can do it all. He can score from the inside, from the outside. He's a very, very good two-way player. He can rebound the rock. He can pass. He's good enough. He doesn't really have no deficiencies to his game. His post moves are overrated. He don't really use his post moves enough. He likes to shoot like he's 6'6", like he's a guard. That's one thing I will say that you can be is, his negative, that he doesn't take advantage of his size enough. Why do I say all this? I've said this guy is too talented and too good to not get past the second round. He's been in the league for 10 seasons, since 2015. Missed a couple seasons due to injuries coming into the league. He's too great not to make it past the second round, time and time again. So a large part has been his injuries at the wrong times while he's come up short, and he has not performed to the level as he did in the regular season. If you look at last year in the playoffs against the New York Knicks, he averaged 33 points per game while being hobbled, right? He performed, but the Sixers still went home in 6 games. The year before that, against Boston, the year before James Harden left, Joel Embiid missed the first 2 games. Or was it the first 2 or the first 4 games? One of the 2. James Harden got 2 wins without Joel Embiid in the playoffs. And Joel Embiid didn't really have much of a playoff series against Boston. They get eliminated in 7 games. The year before that, in 2022, against the Miami Heat, he was injured again with an orbital fracture, right? He had to come back and face the Heat after missing games 1 and 2 to come back for games 3 and 4. He gets some 2 wins, and then they get beat off the court in games 5 and 6. I'm talking about getting obliterated. That was 2022. So almost every season recently, he's been playing hurt and hobbled. And that's where the frustration comes from Joel Embiid. He's like, look, I've dealt with an orbital fracture where my eye, I had to, it blocked my vision. I've dealt with, my knee last year, dealing with that issue. I came back and played, and not only I played well. So he said, I've done too much to be treated like this. And again, I tell y'all, man, when you guys question these players and their credibility and their integrity, man, understand what you're doing. You're basically talking as if, hey, just go out there and play. You're making millions of dollars, which is true. But let me just put this out here as a former player. One thing I never do is tell a person about their injuries. I don't know the specifics about Joel Embiid and his knee. I do know that it's not something that's, 100%. I do know he's dealt with, having to deal with low management. What they've had to basically put out, the NBA had to pretty much put out a fine because they're looking at like Joel Embiid's milking games. And he basically came out and said today, he's like, I'm not milking. Why would I milk games when I work out during the off season and I want to win a championship? I always ask this question about Kawhi Leonard. I said, why would he purposely miss games if he works out as hard as he does in the offseason? I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard. These guys that just say these players don't want to play, when you understand when you're going through the offseason, that's the hard part. The easy part is when they get into the games and they hear their name being chanted by the fans, the jersey sales, the popcorn, you see your family, see your friends, all the baddies on the court, on the sidelines. That is the fun. Nobody wants to put themselves through that rigorous amount of training in the off season just to miss that. I don't care who it is. So the logic of these players don't want to play when they kill themselves in the off season, there's no real logic that you have to back that up. It's really not. You know what I'm saying? So again, Joel Embiid said, hey, I understand the frustrations of the players. I listened to the whole interview. I didn't just listen to that one place. See, if you listen to one part of an interview, or you just grab like a subtitle or grab a meme, you can get a lot of things misconstrued. So I listened to the whole 11 minutes of that interview. He basically went in and said, I'm trying to get back on the court. I will be back on the court soon. And I understand the frustration amongst my teammates, but I have not been as lucky as other players. Now, this is where I'll give Joel Embiid some pushback. I don't think Embiid takes his conditioning as serious as I think he needs to consistently. Now, he did look a little bit more skinnier in this press conference I just saw, so we'll see what happens. But in recent time, I've had an issue with Joel Embiid's conditioning, how serious he takes his body. He got his extension. Now it's time for you to work, and it's time for you to be able to put your body and get it ready for an NBA season. Shout out to Ticket TV. I'm getting a lot of shout outs on here. Ticket TV mentioned that the players of the 90s and the 2000s who were bigs, they prepared themselves to go through an 82-game season. They weren't no such thing as missing back-to-backs and sometimes even triple headers, like back-to-back-to-backs. There was no such thing as doing it. You're going to practice, multiple times a week, and you're going to play back-to-back games. There's no such thing as you taking rest. Your rest was in the summertime, or when you don't have any practice or games throughout the week. That's your rest. That's your rest time. As far as this load management, it's making us weaker. It's not making us stronger. So Embiid, again, I don't know his condition with his knee. Maybe he's having some knee deterioration or something. But as far as what he said, I mean, I've done a lot for the city. I can see that, but I can also see, like, from a fan's point of perspective, like, you ain't won nothing. You ain't won a championship, so you ain't really done. You haven't done the ultimate goal. But you gotta be careful when you question people's injuries. You better know what you're talking about, because speaking from somebody who's had 2 Achilles tears on both knees or both legs, can't no one tell me what it means to have how to properly take care of my body. Nobody knows when I wake up in the morning. Sometimes I might feel stiffness in my left Achilles, or when I go out and play ball, I don't have the same explosion or the same first step or the same vertical that I did before the injuries. No one will ever know that because they're not in my body. I'm not in Joel Embiid's body. I'm not in Kawhi Leonard's body. I'm not in any of these guys' bodies to know what they're really going through. I go by basically, hey, if you're on the court, you're healthy, great. If you're not on the court and you're not healthy, hope that you get it figured out. Hope that the medical staff can figure it out for you. I just don't believe in this notion that these players who are great in their own right and have an opportunity to win a championship, like the Philadelphia 76ers, like the Clippers when Kawhi's on the court, I don't believe they have this mentality, I'm just going to sit out games and not play. Embiid was right. He came back 3 separate times in the playoffs, 2022, 2023, 2024, after being injured. My man straight to the point said he preferred Embiid not to even play last year in the playoffs. Right? So, do you want him to play through injuries, or do you want him to sit out? And if you want him to sit out, you can't come back and say that he's purposely not wanting to play. I mean, as far as, I'm just being honest, Embiid, he's not this guy that gets hurt and just stays out. You don't see him in street clothes. He always comes back and play. Now, does he play well is a different story, and is he coming in shape is a different story. But he always comes back and plays with his injuries. I have to tip my cap to that. I cannot lie. But I will say this, Embiid not making past the second round, this is your year to do it. There is no excuse. If you're the Sixers with Joel Embiid, I don't care who's in his way. I got the Sixers getting to the conference finals, healthy. You brought in Paul George, who I keep telling people he's going to have a great season with this team. I know he's coming back. He's coming back injured. He's been actually playing 5-on-5 and going through practices as of late. So you can go, lady. He's almost back. I think he's probably going to be back with the next couple games. Hopefully he'll be back for this Sixer game when they come play us against the Clippers, because I'll be at that game. I'm at every game, but I'll definitely be watching that game. Hopefully he comes back for that. But as far as the Sixers, I have them going to the conference finals. I see one team in the East that's dominant, and that's Boston. And I think they can beat Boston. Shout out to Cleveland, shout out to New York. They're contenders as well. They're going to be right there. Orlando just had an injury with Paolo Banchero, so we'll see what happens with them. But the Sixers have the experience, they have the youth, they have the coach, they have the championship DNA to win a title or get it done. And Embiid, you have no excuse this year. You have all the help that you need. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I thought this was an interesting story that I wanted to talk about. Until the next time, pull up, chat, pull up, live, pace, out of here like swimwear.